So we're live? Oh, everybody's so quiet.
Right?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? We're just live here on Seller Roundtable today, and we have an amazing panel here, and we're going to talk about Q4 marketing strategy. So, or all of our lack thereof. Who's got a Q4 marketing strategy already? Anyone? No? I'll admit that I need to get mine together, and I'm kind of using this upcoming event that we have to do just that. So I'm looking.
How soon is Q4 coming up?
It's like, what did we say? Like,
away. Yeah.
This year it's like so much quicker than last year. So we're going to get started here any minute. You guys can join us in the Zoom. You can come to sellerroundtable.com/live. You can join us in the Zoom, or you can just catch us live right here. And we're going to talk today with this amazing panel all about Q4 marketing strategy and what you need to do. And we have an upcoming event coming up in Austin, Texas, October 15th, Seller Meetup. So we are going to talk about that, and all of these amazing people are going to be there to impart their amazing wisdom on you. So we're going to give you some tips today, get you primed for that event, get you thinking about your Q4 marketing strategy. It's going to be awesome. So shall we begin?
All right, let's do it.
Yes.
I'm going to record on my side just so it automatically goes to the cloud and we don't have to mess with that later. All right, here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Andy Arnott with
Amy Weiss.
And this is a Seller Roundtable Extra. Today, we have tons of guests. We're going to talk about Q4 marketing strategies, how you can hit it out of the park. And with that, I'm going to give it over to Amy.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's so great to be here on another episode of the Seller Roundtable. I can't believe we've been going this long, but you know, it's always exciting when we have big panels like this. And you can see, if you're looking at the screen right now, if you're listening, not so much, you're just going to hear from them in a minute, but you can see the amazing panel of people we have around us right now. And all of these folks are going to be speakers at our upcoming Q4 Marketing Mastery event. We are having an event on October 15th in Austin, Texas, at the Line Hotel. This hotel is epic, by the way. It's like right on the water. It's so beautiful. The views are amazing. So you guys can get your tickets at sellermeetup.com. So definitely check that out. But today we're here to deliver value. And I don't know how many of you have a Q4 marketing strategy already, but if you don't, there's no time like the present to get started, because this Q4 is going to be like no other Q4. And I know we say that every year, but seriously, this year it's really going to be like no other Q4. So we wanted to do a marketing mastery session unlike any other marketing mastery session that we've ever done before. So we're going to discuss not only listing optimization, the specifics of what you need to do to really prepare your listings for this season. What, do you just put Christmas in the title? You know, like what do you do to make sure that you're getting those holiday sales? Yeah, Brian saying, yeah, that's exactly what you do. You just put Christmas in the title. It's fine.
Done. Easy.
Exactly, too easy. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about different sales channels that you should be considering. Are you just selling on Amazon? Why? There are so many cool sales channels. Of course, you want to master one at a time, but we're going to talk about the different sales channels that you should be considering here during this Q4. I know Andy loves all the different sales channels too. And then we're going to talk about traffic. And we're going to get into the different types of traffic that you should be running, not just on Amazon with Amazon PPC. Of course, we have our PPC experts here, but we also are going to be talking about external traffic off of Amazon, things like content marketing, things like working with influencers. We have two influencers here with us today that are going to tell us all about how do you work with influencers during the holidays, because I know that you influencers are not busy at all during the holidays. You're not. You don't have people already lined up at your door. So we want to make sure that we get that going on. We're also going to talk about, like I mentioned, on Amazon PPC, when you need to spin that up. What does that need to look like? Who knows, right? But we need to have a strategy for these things. And then last but not least, we need to talk about when we're increasing our sales, how do we continue to feed the beast? How do we manage our inventory? How do we make sure that our logistics make sense? You know, shipping to all of these different sales channels. How do we manage that? So we have a panel on that and we're getting that going. So we're so excited about this event and we want to deliver some value today. So the first panel that we have at this event is all about listing optimization and that seasonal listing optimization. So I am joined by John Tilley from ZonGuru for this panel, and we're going to talk about listing optimization and the things that you need to do. So besides your normal listing optimization, what are some things that you should do? Do we just, like I said, do we just put Christmas in the title? And is that even possible, right? Amazon has these kind of rules where you're not supposed to put gift in the title. But let's talk about this as a panel, because here, I don't have John Tilley with me, but he's not here on this podcast today. But let's talk about it as a panel here. What do you guys think people should do with their listings? Especially from a PPC perspective, Brian, you know, you got to prime your listing in order to run those seasonal keywords, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, you don't want to start it right before the big traffic hits. You've got to make sure that you've got some testing done and your campaigns are warmed up enough that Amazon, especially like manual campaigns, that Amazon trusts the campaign. Otherwise, they're just not going to show it. You're certainly more than welcome to outbid everybody on the planet, but that's not a good plan when it comes to profitability.
Yeah, that's really smart. What do you think, Andy? I know that you have super cool techniques for listing optimization for seasonally. What do you think about listing optimization in terms of seasonality?
Well, one of the things that I've noticed after doing this for so many years is that Amazon actually has muscle memory in terms of keywords that you used in the past. So if something worked in the past, you know, a lot of keywords that will die off during, during the non-holiday season. But right now is when you should start bidding and start kind of getting some traction, whether it's doing, discounts, promos, coupons, using influencers, whatever it is to try to get some more juice back to those keywords right now, before the busy season starts, before people start cranking up those bids on those keywords, because you want Amazon to go, oh yeah, I remember this product converts really well for X, Y, or Z. So to me, that would be what I would go back through your PPC reports. Hopefully you have them archived or took note of what worked in the previous years, and make sure that those, keywords are of course peppered throughout the listing, and then start bidding up on those right now before it gets too expensive, so that your organic rank gets pushed. And so when it is time for Q4, you're not competing against, the Nikes of the world, or, these big, huge corporations that as a mom and pop, you might not be able to compete with.
To add to Andy's point there on that is that there's no guarantee that all of the past keywords will even index for your listing, because that does change and recycle. But yeah, I definitely agree with Andy on that, is that you probably have some seasonal keywords that only work during certain months of the year that you can bring back and recharge or kind of reintroduce. Some of the ones that maybe don't get picked up, you may have to put more of an SEO spin on it and actually remind Amazon that, yes, I am relevant to this, just not year round.
And I think we should talk about the outside of Amazon funnel that's leading to your listing. So, we have somebody like Gracey here who does Amazon deals as an Amazon influencer. Gracey, what happens when you're running some traffic? So you maybe are creating something on TikTok for somebody and they're driving to the listing, but that listing doesn't reflect what it is that you're trying to sell on your end. So maybe they're running a really good deal. Maybe they're trying to make a Christmas type of bundle or something like that. What happens if the listing isn't optimized for that?
So usually when I run a promo and I'm trying to lead traffic to the Amazon listing, I would expect that listing to be set up for the purchase to just happen so that it is a streamlined process. And then, there is times where I run traffic to a listing and there's a roadblock there, whether the reviews are not good or whether, there's just like maybe the price is like super inflated and like so is the discount, and that's kind of iffy. There's a bunch of like potential roadblocks that could happen. So like that could also potentially reflect badly on me if I'm like, oh, like what a great deal, like look at this product, how cool. People go and they're like, what is this? And so yeah, there's there's things to look out for there. And like if you are working with an influencer, I think it is like very important to make sure that your listing is ready to go before that traffic gets there, because once you run that traffic, that's the whole point. It's hard to do it again. So just have it ready to be there. I think the reviews are very important these days. The optimization, well, I guess keyword optimization is incredibly important, but once your traffic is already there, then it is all about how the listing looks.
Yeah, so during this panel for listing optimization, we're not only going to be talking to you about what keywords you need to be thinking about for your listing and how to get those, but when you need to start spinning those up so that your PPC is being as effective as it can be, and also how to make that listing look the way that it needs to look for your marketing strategies to be effective. So one other person I want to pick on is our friend John Serafano here, who's going to be talking about funnels, leading those funnels from off of Amazon to on Amazon or on your website. John, how do you think that impacts what a listing should look like? What kind of, especially you can rank for different keywords during the season using external traffic and using those two-step URLs and such. What do you think about people prepping their listings and prepping that bottom of funnel before they prep the upper part of the funnel? Oh, you're muted.
Okay, let's try this again. I think everybody brings up some really, really good points. When you're dealing with external traffic, whether it be Facebook or Google, Pinterest, some of those other areas, keywords are a consideration somewhat, but the main thing I think I want to hit home is that, we talk about campaigns a lot at the PPC level, but when you're running across multi-channels, a campaign should really have continuity across all of the channels, right? So one thing I think that's kind of, I don't see much in Amazon, on the Amazon seller side that you see on the website side of things, is, websites will change a few graphics here and there with some seasonal imagery and those types of things, like farmhouse is a really, really strong keyword on Amazon. So you can have a farmhouse themed campaign on Facebook and Google and some of these other areas. And you want to make sure that there's continuity across all those different channels when people come so that you can maximize the odds of a conversion, right? So I think that's probably the biggest factor.
You don't want to be aiming for that farmhouse target audience off of Amazon, and then they get to Amazon and they're like, what is this? This is,
right,
something else. It's not targeted towards that customer. So yeah, it goes all the way from the folks that are talking about PPC, like Brian Johnson, to the folks that are talking about influencers like Maayan Gordon and Gracey Ryback, and of course, driving external traffic via chatbots, such as what Michelle Barnum-Smith is going to be talking about, and as well as what John is talking about here. So we really need to be thinking about all of this. This is the big thing that we're going to be focused on for the listing optimization side of things. And the big thing you guys need to be focused on, whether you're at our event or not, you need to be focused on what keywords are you going to be targeting and when do you spin those up? What does your traffic strategy look like around that? And then what does the presentation of your listing look like, right? What is happening to the customer when they get there? And what does that need to look like? So definitely look out for some tips, because each of our speakers is going to be putting out some tips over the next couple of weeks to help you prepare for that. And hopefully you guys will be really excited about learning something new about seasonal marketing with your listing, because that's the bottom of the funnel. That's where the customer makes the buying decision, whether it's on your website, whether it's on Walmart.com, whether it's on Amazon.com, we need to be paying attention to it. So that's amazing. Speaking of listing optimization, let's move on to the next topic, which is PPC strategies. So seasonal marketing PPC strategies. Brian Johnson is here, and he's going from Canopy Management. He's going to be talking about this on our PPC panel. And Brian, we're so excited to have you because I know not only are you a super nerd about listing optimization and multiple channels, but you're also a super nerd about running those keywords. What do people need to be thinking about when it comes to, and I know Andy's also a super nerd when it comes to PPC, so I'm sure he's gonna have something to say about this as well. But what do you guys think about Q4 strategy, your marketing strategy for PPC? What are those key things that people need to be thinking about?
Yeah, I like the whole super nerd thing because I think pretty much all of us that just have spent so much time, so many hours over the years into just geeking out on this stuff and love it. I'm okay. Super nerd. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. As far as advertising goes, I mean, one of the things that we kind of want to address as far as the elephant in the room is back in about March, of course, this year, traffic on Amazon fell off pretty sharply. And that rolled basically that impacted most brands that sell products on Amazon, as well as other e-commerce channels, because it didn't just hit Amazon, it hit multiple e-commerce channels. And one of the things that, aside from Amazon bumping up sales and traffic for Prime Day, most sellers turned around and they panicked. You know, it's like the stock market. They panicked the situation. They thought they were the only brand, the only product that wasn't getting the traffic compared to their competitors. And so they said, well, what's the lever that I can pull? I'm going to pull or push, however you want to put it, advertising. And the default, somebody who's not as well trained maybe over the years, is let me just increase the bid, increase the budget, because if I double that, then my sales will come back to normal. The challenge on that, of course, is that interferes with normal, like solid ad strategy as far as building up, really identifying who the target audience is, then going into the cycle of optimizing the product listings toward that target audience. Since Amazon wants us to do a better job each iteration of focusing in on a target audience with our listing, with our messaging, with our advertising, with our off Amazon marketing, it all kind of plays into, do we actually know who our target audience is? And are we pointing everything at that target audience? Not simply just trying to broadcast out and put, like we joked in the beginning, is putting Christmas, bidding on the word Christmas or putting it into your title is kind of a joke, obviously. We'll see plenty of people do that.
Yeah, because nobody else is bidding on Christmas, right?
No. Actually, yeah, the first person who hears this is the only person who's going to. And so it's being more narrow you're going to have a lot more control if you are narrowly focused on who your target audience is, including your advertising, and that includes ramping up. You don't have to run all ad types that are available. There's over 30 ad placements on Amazon. Most sellers are using maybe 6 or 7. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to, one of the things that you'll hear me say in a lot of the talks that I do and training that I've done this year is, there's no perfect solution. Just do the opposite of what your competition is doing. Try to figure out what it is they're doing, their listing optimization, their messaging, their advertising, what keywords they're running on, what keywords are they ranking on, and go the opposite. Obviously it's got to be relevant to your product, but really it kind of comes down to is stop worrying about the individual, like step-by-step tactic, and think more about how do I simply show up on Amazon and off Amazon, if you're doing that too, where my competition isn't. Pick up all the pieces that are a lot less expensive and gives you a lot more exposure in total, simply by paying attention to what your competition is doing. Be different. Just stand out. Be different.
I love that. So what are some of the things that you're going to talk about at the seller meetup October 15th that are going to help people implement those strategies?
Yeah, as far as this year goes, as far as Q4 goes, there's some common mistakes that are made as far as ramping up into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, ramping down after Cyber Tuesday, or actually, Surprise Tuesday, depending on whatever you want to call it. And then ramping up again, and then ramping down after Christmas Day. There's a lot of common mistakes that can be avoided that If you do it correctly, if you properly focus your ads, then you'll increase profitability. So that's one part. The other part is simply going out there and recognizing that you're going to have a lot more traffic, because this Q4 is the season that Amazon's going to spend a lot of ad dollars, because now not only they're competing with e-commerce, but now they're going back and they're competing with the brick and mortar retailers who are dumping a huge amount of money this year to try to get people back into the stores to recover for the last 2 years, right? And so Amazon's got to turn a whole bunch of money into advertising and Super Bowl ads and who knows what else that they've got to do during in fourth quarter. I realize that's not fourth quarter, but they're going to be driving the traffic. And for the traffic that Amazon is bringing to Amazon, you certainly want to set up an ad strategy that captures that and do it profitably. And the way that we do it profitably,
really hard during Q4, by the way, because you're paying.
Well, it is, yeah, and that's kind of the messaging that people will hear in this discussion today, and certainly on October 15th, is that the biggest difference is you can't simply just play it defensive this year. You can't simply just sit back and say, you know what, Amazon's going to bring the traffic. All I need to do is show up. All I need to do is SEO. All I need to do is advertising. It's not enough this year.
Yeah.
So you've got to put in certain things. You're got to put in your PPC advertising. You've got to do your listing optimization. You've got to do some of the things that you have, those switches, those levers that you have on Amazon. But you've also got to prepare for what do you need to do beyond that if you're going to do more than what your competition is doing, do different than what your competition is doing. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. I'm actually going to be talking about some very specific tactics on October 15th, as far as this is the year when logistics is going to be a problem. So this is kind of one of the key things. I don't want to give too much because I'm going to give it all on October 15th, but this is what is a few tactics that we can take advantage of as a result of competitors failing to be ready for Q4. There's a lot of them. I'm going to pick probably like top 3 or 4. That kind of comes down to what happens when they run out of stock, what happens when they improperly set their ad budgets, what happens when they improperly have an insufficient ad strategy. It creates gaps, it creates openings that you as an offensive competitor can fill in, and you get your product seen and your brand seen by the consumers. So there's a lot of opportunity of simply just not making as many mistakes as your neighbors and clean up, based off of, because they're going to make mistakes. They're going to run out of stock. They're going to run out of budget. They're going to lose the buy box. They're going to, there's a number of things. They're going to panic. There's a number of things that we expect them to do. Don't be them. In other words,
and know how to take advantage of this situation.
I know I'm trying to give as much as I can, but I don't, because I don't want everybody to know about it. I want the people who actually show up on October 15th actually know exactly what to do. So. Perfect.
Well, I love that, Brian. And let's get to the next subject. The next panel we're going to be talking about on October 15th is increasing your sales channels. So what sales channels should you be selling on? Do you focus on your website for certain things? Should you be selling on other external sales channels? And we're going to have Tim Jordan, Colin Foster, and Tal Aad on that panel to talk about that. And so we have Tal here today, and I'm going to pick on him a little bit. Tal, what should people be thinking about for their Q4 marketing strategy in terms of external sales channels?
Yeah, so I don't know who posted it on Facebook today, and I'm trying to scroll through all the different things. It might be someone in this group. It might be friends of someone in this group, but someone posted a picture of a table with 1 leg versus a table with 4 legs. And it's if you lose the table, if the 1 leg breaks, the whole thing falls. But if you lose, one of the 4 legs, it's going to be wobbly, but you can still, probably still put stuff on it. So sorry, I'm not attributing whoever posted that because I can't find it, but thank you for posting that. And that's how I feel about different sales channels. More and more, I came from an off Amazon standpoint. So I was a Shopify first person and Amazon came second. And so I'm always going to be a big advocate of your own native channels. So either a Shopify site, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, although I don't like WooCommerce, but that's another thing. And so for me, it's like from a other channel standpoint, like just really, really focusing on building out your own, it's your own customer, it's your own UX. It's like everything about it is just better, except it's harder and more expensive to do for the most part. Yeah. And in Q4, if you haven't already started your own channel, it might not be, a way you can't really push it that fast and build out your own entire infrastructure that quickly. But going back to just some of the other big issues that happen on Amazon and why to diversify off of Amazon, inventory, as everyone's been talking about, like really, really working on getting your logistics set up, whether you have a 3PL, an owned warehouse or something. And if you're using Shopify plugins to fulfill your off Amazon, or you're using Shopify plugin to fulfill from like an FBA to your website, like that's getting sunset by Amazon next week. Or I guess it's sunset already, but that's being completely unsupported next week by Amazon. So really figuring out how to make sure that your channels, like your external channels, are going to be fulfilled, especially if they're connected to Amazon, and really start bifurcating them away from each other.
And I love how we have the logistics panel along with that. So we're going to have shipping providers. We've got Chelsea from SoStock. We're going to be talking about not only, and we've got our influencers talking about all the different channels that you can push traffic to. So, think about all the different channels you can take advantage of, right? And how you can build those out. And if you have a website already that maybe you haven't done a lot with, you haven't done a lot of sales with, you could build just one funnel on that website that might do really well for Christmas time, right? So there's lots of different things that you can do, but there's so many channels, right? And this is the opportunity to really get that going. And we're going to have the expertise to help you navigate that, right? To help you decide, what is the right time to build out my own website channel? What is the right time to maybe start selling on Etsy, which is huge at Christmas time? What is the best time to start, getting on podcasts or doing content marketing and blogging and, working with influencers on TikTok or Instagram or Pinterest, all these different channels, not only marketing channels, but also sales channels. So what is one thing, Talal, before we move on to our external traffic with John and Michelle, what is one thing that you're going to be talking about at Seller Meetup that you want to kind of give us a little teaser for? Like, what's one thing you're going to build on?
Yeah, really, it's going to be Shopify focused, and choosing the right Shopify, both theme and kind of choosing the right infrastructure around building out your Shopify for sure. And definitely. How to be ready in November when shit hits the fan at Amazon and you don't have a backup and all of your stuff gets moved into the wrong ASIN, how to be ready to turn that off and turn on the plan B. Everything should be plan B, in my opinion. So always have a plan B and then plan C's. There is no real plan A.
I love that. That's so smart. Even if you're not, totally built out on your Shopify yet, knowing what to do and having that ready to implement, like how many of us had our inventory held hostage during when COVID first kicked off, and we were all like, what the heck, and Andy and I were over here like laughing because we merchant fulfill too. So, but there's so many different channels you can take advantage of. And we got to be ahead of those. I love it. I love the table leg thing too. I'm going to look up who did that. That was a good post. All right. Thank you, Talal. That's awesome. Okay. So we're moving on to external traffic strategies. Speaking of external sales channels like Shopify, like Walmart, like eBay, all those things, we're going to talk about all those things, but we're also going to talk about external traffic because, as you know, Andy and I always talk about this on the podcast. If you are only advertising on Amazon, you are missing out. You have a ton of both organic opportunities as well as paid traffic opportunities, content marketing opportunities, funnel building opportunities. Like, what are you doing? It is like putting all your eggs in the Amazon basket. And when you wonder how that competitor is getting all that traffic and how all those sales and their listing is so crappy, it's because they're doing a great job of either selling externally or setting up those external traffic channels. And speaking of that, I'm going to bring up John Serafano and Michelle Barnum-Smith to talk about that. So lady and gentlemen, let's talk about that. We're going to talk about external traffic and advertising strategies. And your panel, you're going to be joined with Norm Farrar, who's going to be talking about content marketing. Let's get into it. What is it that's important from an external traffic strategy focus for that, for you to be successful in Q4, both on and off of Amazon?
Did you want me to kind of kick it off, or
Yeah,
Michelle?
sure.
Maybe
Kick us off, and then then Michelle
Okay.
can fill in.
So I think before I get into that in depth, I call this Amazon folklore. I think a lot of us that have been around for a while can appreciate there's really great information circulating in the communities, and there's some really awful information circulating in the communities. And the first thing I always like to talk about when I'm talking about external traffic is that you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And what I mean by that is that, this whole thing like PPC is dead. No, it's not. Like, you don't just want to run, external traffic and then abandon your PPC presence. PPC presence is still going to be the foundation of, your profitability on Amazon, moving forward. But you definitely want to supplement and augment that. Just like you using that table leg analogy that Tal Aad had brought up earlier. I mean, it's the same thing with traffic, right? So it's really, really important that I mention that, because you're not, it's not abandon ship on PPC. It's, pushing as many areas as you can, within the scope of the profits of your business. So I guess the main thing that I want to talk about when it comes to traffic is that I've seen a lot of different posts. I'm sure we've all seen a lot of different posts about, Facebook is, when you're sending Facebook traffic and all this stuff. And I think it's really, really important for us to understand the nature of external traffic. That traffic is cold, right? And it's something that we take for granted on Amazon. That traffic is warm, it's hot, it's ready to convert. It's very, very, very end funnel, right? Like, those people are searching for what they're going to buy today, and they're going to buy it. And I think a lot of sellers kind of, starting on Amazon and having that being most of their experience, think that just kind of how e-commerce works. I put I put $1 into my advertising, it spits $3 back out at me, right? But Amazon's been spending 20 years to create an ecosystem where people are ready to convert, right? So the first thing we want to make sure is that taking that one step further, kind of another aside, is that Amazon controls the flow of traffic on their platform, right? So that's something that's really, really important to consider when you're sending in a cold session. So if you send a cold session right to the ASIN, right, and they don't have any brand loyalty, they don't have any traffic loyalty, they could be thinking about something else they bought, the app showing them other suggestions, things like that, they can easily bounce to another, sponsored product listing or display ad, and they're gone, and you just wasted that money, right? So that's the first thing that's really, really important to consider, is that traffic's cold. You have to cultivate that traffic. So Tal Aad's doing it's going to be a great addition to what I'm talking about, which is going to be a little bit more introductory. It's something I call a flywheel funnel, right? So you need to increase the amount of exposure time you have to traffic to warm it up so that it's more ready to convert. But more than that, you want to make sure that you don't just completely throw that money away, right? So if I send traffic directly to Amazon, which is something you can test, like even the storefronts and things like that, and that could perform well. What do you do about all that traffic that doesn't convert because it's cold? And in Q4, you're going to have, people are more ready to buy than typically would be, but you want to be able to have a plan B in place to where you can kind of capture that other traffic. So that's the function that a flywheel funnel serves. It's another property, whether it be, lead pages or Shopify or things like that's set up to get email captures. You can get chatbot captures. I know we're gonna have somebody talking about chatbot messaging. So you can cultivate all of, so you can email capture these, build a list so that you can continue to market to that traffic and push it where you want to push it, push it to where it wants to convert. And that kind of going into like the multi-channel strategy, like, Amazon's our core focus, but, somebody might convert on Walmart. They might want to convert on the website. So, by being able to control that traffic more by having the intermediary, the property in place, and then setting up your ad strategy to kind of work within those constraints, that's vitally, vitally important. And it's not something that's super expensive to do. I mean, to make a single page lander now, it's not all that expensive. And there are strategies that you can do, to maximize your captures and things like that. But I think that's going to be the core focus of what I talk about. I think it's going to be a good lead in to what everybody else is talking about as well. So
I love that you focused on capturing the traffic no matter where it's going. whether it's going to Amazon or to your website or to Walmart or whatever, you're capturing that traffic and you're warming it up and you're helping them understand like, hey, we're here for you. You know, this is what we have for you, right? And then you're getting that, whether it's on a chatbot or whether it's capturing that email. And so speaking of chatbots, we have the chatbot queen, Michelle Barnum Smith here. She's visiting us. She's at Traffic and Conversion speaking, amazing, right? But she's nice enough to pop on here. And Michelle, I love that John is talking about capturing that traffic, and that's exactly what chatbots do, right? They capture that traffic. And what are you going to be talking about in terms of Q4 strategies for marketing utilizing chatbots?
Yeah, absolutely. So something that's really important to understand with external traffic is that Amazon is not a team player with advertising, other outside advertising platforms, meaning you can send amazing, beautiful ads from TikTok, from Facebook, from Instagram, influencers like Gracey and all of these, amazing traffic sources. But Amazon is not going to provide data back to those traffic sources to actually say, hey, Facebook ads, you sent us this traffic, this is how many converted, and here's some more to retarget because they didn't convert, right? Amazon they don't allow you to pixel information. And now with the iOS 14 update, maybe you guys have seen it on your apps as all of a sudden they're asking your permission to track you. At Traffic and Conversion this week, they said 96% of people tapped, no, you cannot track me. And the only weirdos who say, yes, you can track me are marketers like myself, who are like, oh, let me see what you're going to do with my data, right? So that's where chatbots come in. And one of the things that's most important with external traffic is that you find out who you are sending to your listing so that you can follow up with them, so that you can develop a direct relationship with them. If they buy something from you, ask for a review. Who knew, and maybe upsell and cross sell. When you have a list and you know what those people are actually doing with your products, you have power, and that's what we want you to do. Whether that is using chatbots to launch a new product, or you want to use chatbots to help you rank and position yourself for those amazing gift keywords that are spiking all over the place during the holiday season, or you just want to perform better for the keywords that are your mainstay keywords that you use all year round. That's basically what I'm going to be sharing in my session, and really diving into how you can utilize the power of external traffic through chatbots to get you that positioning you need to take a bite out of the $125.6 billion that was last Q4. Guaranteed that number is only going up this year. So I want that for you. I hope you guys want that for you. And just for a fun data point, only 81% of clicks never go past page 1. And 80% of traffic buys through the mobile app. So that means page 1 is less than 20 positions. So being positioned for that success is so important now more than ever. And having that, being in the game, like the old joke, who's ready for a super old cheesy joke? I'm really bad at jokes, by the way.
I love dad jokes. Let's do it.
This is like a Michelle joke, which is worse than a dad joke. But this was like a Google joke back in the day, which was like, where's the best place to hide a dead body? On page 2.
Yes, I love it. So, I think it is so important that we can warm up that traffic, and we think about customer buying habits. When I think about me, when I'm buying for, I remember at Christmas time, and I don't know how many of you guys feel this way, but at Christmas time, you start making your list of people you have to buy for. And then you start making your list of all the other people, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much. And then you start looking for ideas. So what can I get the teacher? What can I get and if you have one of those products that could fill that need for those extra people that people have to buy for, or giving people an idea of what to buy from their dads, and that's going to transition me perfectly into our influencers, right? But when you're looking for those ideas, it's so key to get in front of that. And that's not going to happen on Amazon, right? People aren't going to search on Amazon for that. They're going to start off of Amazon, and they're going to be looking for that Facebook video ad that pops up that gives them that idea of, oh my gosh, look at dad laughing after he got this gift, right? That gives them all the feels. And then they're like, they're already hooked. They're ready to go. So that's why we got to get in there. We got to get these ideas. We got to get it going. So we want to see you guys at Seller Meetup. We want to see you at Q4 Marketing Mastery. We're going to be in Austin, Texas at the Line Hotel on 15 October. And it's a one-day event. We're starting in the morning. We're ending in the afternoon. We're going to have a VIP dinner that night. And so you guys got to be there. We got great speakers. We got great sponsors. And we are going to be giving you these techniques. And each of our speakers is on a panel. Instead of just one speaker talking at you for an hour, you're going to have multiple speakers, and they are going to be focused on giving you those important points and playing off of each other. And then we have Q&A sessions after each panel, because networking, when you come to these events, networking is so important. So we can't wait to bring together all of the Texas meetup groups, but as well as just in general, the sellers that are across the country meeting in Texas for the first seller meetup. So you guys got to join us. You can go to sellermeetup.com. Okay, so we have 2 more panels to talk about. So just hang out for a minute. The next panel that we're going to have is influencer marketing, because so many of you want to learn how to work with influencers. But guess what? They're busy during the holiday season. They got things to do. So we have an amazing influencer panel. We have Liza Morales, we have Maayan Gordon, we have Gracey Ryback. They are here to help you with your Q4 seasonal strategies in working with influencers. So I'm going to start with Maayan. Maayan, tell us about how people should be, the things people should be considering when working with influencers. What kind of channels should they be looking for? What kind of deals should they be putting out there? What should they be thinking about during Q4?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot to really be thinking about, but timeline, I think, is a really big one that you're going to hear again and again across the board, whether it's influencer marketing or inventory or listings, but really planning out ahead of time. When are you going to do outreach to influencers? When are you going to have your, campaign brief done by? When are you going to have your platform selected? All of the different stages, whether they're decisions or whether they're actions. Sometimes the decisions can be the ones that take up the most time. So making sure you plan in, you're going to have decided, by this date that you are choosing Facebook ads as your platform, or that you are going with TikTok organic, influencer content marketing. But really thinking about not only the timeline, but also how does it fit in with the rest of your marketing strategy and your traffic strategy? And then how does your traffic strategy connect to your sales strategy? And making sure, like everyone else has been saying, that everything is fluid. There isn't any big hump or obstacle at any point within the overall funnel that is going to stop customers from making a purchase. And I think another thing to consider that I'll talk more about, during the panel and during the meetup, which I'm beyond excited for, this is going to be an amazing event, is how do you speak to influencers and what are their concerns? Because we all know what the sellers, want out of this. They want more sales. They want more brand exposure. But coming at it from a side where you're also seeing the value that you can offer to the influencer and really speaking to that creates some great leverage and allows you to build those relationships more quickly and not just have your messages be, unread because they don't care about what it is that you have to say.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you think, Gracey, about that in terms of people wanting to work with influencers, people wanting to get in those Amazon deals hashtags? Like, I'm sure you have people already lining up and you've got all these. So what are the things, and I don't want you to give a whole bunch away, but give people some general strategy and tell us what you're going to be focused on in your specific tips at the Seller Meetup.
So like Maayan said, getting ready and the timeline of everything is very important, because I don't know about the other influencers, but I know that everybody is kind of getting ready for Q4. They're already thinking about it. I know it's a couple weeks away, but they're already thinking about it. And so the 3 main things that I want to focus on during this event is talking about TikTok. I love Facebook, love YouTube, love the other platforms. Yes, but let's talk about where all the attention and all the eyes are on right now. While we have it, while we have the attention there, let's focus on getting, exposure from that. I also want to talk about Amazon Live. For anybody who I have brought up Amazon Live to, they're like, what's that? I did not know that Amazon had live streaming. And I'm like, yeah, they do. And so Amazon Live has been around, but like recently they have been pushing it so much, bringing in very well-known like reality TV show stars and like celebrities and bringing them onto the platform. And their goal behind that is to get their audience onto Amazon, off-site traffic. Amazon is like focusing on that like no other. And so that is a really, really good way to do it as well. And there are a lot of influencers. And something that's really important is that influencers need sellers and brands just as much as sellers and brands might need influencers. Like they want the product to talk about, they want the content to make, and they love the partnerships as well as, with these brands. They think that's really special. I think it's really special. And I've loved the connections that I've made so far with these brands. And another thing that I want to touch on, but not give too much away about, is these like short videos that I know have been a part of like, product listings for a long time. But these short videos, I think, are a really, really great way to get some UGC already ready on your listing. And Amazon has implemented some recent changes about that. So influencers are really focusing on it. And I think that is a really, really great way to just kind of pad your listing, get more just content on there. And nothing drives revenue like TikTok. That is my favorite
You're
thing
so
to talk
right.
about.
And I love that we have two TikTok crazed influencers on our panel. That's just awesome. I think what you said about Amazon Live is also so important because Amazon juices Amazon Live during Q4 big time. They step up the content marketing. Last year during Q4, I noticed it was on my Amazon Live section of my Fire TV. So in my house, on my Fire TV, there's this big old Amazon Live thing. Because during Q4, they have the content. And you're right, they have all these new influencers that are coming on. Like I just met Marcy McKenna the other night. She has her own HSN show. She's an inventor and now she's an Amazon Live influencer. So wow, how do we get in front of these people? How do we be attractive as a partner for them, right? I love that you guys are going to be talking on this. It's going to make a huge difference in people's businesses. Whether or not they implement it in Q4, it doesn't matter because it's going to grow them from this point forward. So I love all the marketing strategy that people are going to learn at this seller meetup. Okay, before we get out of here, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. How do we deal with all of these extra sales? And that's why we're doing an inventory panel at the end. And also John Tilley is here. He didn't get to be here with my listing optimization part at the beginning. But John, before we turn it over to Chelsea to talk about how we keep the beast fed during this hot mess of Q4, talk just a little bit, John, about what you're going to be touching on. You have a very special element to listing optimization that you're going to talk about at this Q4 Marketing Mastery event.
I hope it's special. Sorry for being late. I had a few meetings, but great to see the energy here. I'm more fired up about Q4 than I was 10 minutes ago, that's for sure. So, I think what's important in Q4 and the part that I want to touch on is really how do you optimize versus your competitors and how do you beat your competitors? So, really understanding what are they targeting, where are the gaps, using data to show you what you should really focus on versus your competitors to win. And then more importantly, being able to track competitor behavior so that you can react during Q4, because there's going to be a whole bunch going on and you need to stay on top of it, right? Because extra sales is extra algorithm juice, is extra everything. So it makes a massive impact on your business and you need to stay on top of it. So I'm going to touch a lot on that in terms of a competitor focus, how to beat them with the data, how do you be number one, and importantly track them and be on top of them during Q4. So Anything else that I can cover, I will gladly cover. I'm sure it's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to getting to Austin. I haven't been there in a while, so I'm super pumped and very excited to connect with everyone here. It's going to be fun.
Yes, I'm excited to be on the listing optimization panel with you, and it's going to be a great time. We're going to give a lot of value. So love it, love it, love it all day. All right, Chelsea, what are we going to do about this inventory madness?
Yes. Yeah. So I talk to people all day, every day about inventory. When, restock limits tank, they call me or they, email me. They think I can call up Jeff Bezos and, get them fixed for them. We do have, some hacks and things like that have worked for that, but I'm going to really be focusing on the fundamentals. Hacks are great, but you really can't build a business off of hacks. And I like what Tal Aad said about plan B and plan C, and also what Brian said about your competitors are going to be stocking out, and what do you do about that? When Amy and I started, the conversation about putting together a panel, putting together an event, and talking about all this marketing, immediately my thought went to, we're going to be talking about this, and unless we, address the elephant in the room of inventory, everyone is going to be, kind of getting really nervous about the idea of marketing at all. So I'm gonna really focus on, actually the whole panel is being designed with, 3PL, fulfillment and logistics and shipping, and putting a panel together that can let you know what is the scene and how do you organize your business so that you can handle anything, because we can't control what Amazon does. We can't control, and all the more reason for us to be diversified across multiple different sales channels. But a lot of people have the problem of Amazon not only being their only sales channel, but their only distribution channel. And that is going to cause stock out. So, your competitors stocking out is probably going to be because of that. And it's shocking. We've been dealing with for the past year and a half these same issues, and people still don't have their logistics in place and are still stocking out for silly logistical reasons, and also for lack of marketing planning. So those are kind of the things that we're going to be focusing on, is how do you marry your marketing planning with your inventory planning, and how do you make sure that you have your logistics in place so that no matter what happens at Amazon, no matter what happens at the port, no matter whether your shipment gets lost at Amazon, these things have all happened, and it's still your fault. No matter
especially
if it's
during Q4. Especially during Q4, so many lost shipments. Yeah,
exactly. And so what are those plans? When you have trucking companies, you heard of a trucking company reaching out to Amazon saying, we're not shipping anything more to Amazon fulfillment centers until you give us our trailers back. These are the things that are happening. And those trailers that are sitting in Amazon's parking lot are the trailers that are full of your inventory that is lost. It's not lost, it's just backlogged. And I had, second Christmas into selling lost inventory until after Christmas, and then it was miraculously found. And so if you're sending everything, you're in trouble. So how do you figure out how to, within the beginning of the fourth quarter, build a system where you can make those, pull those levers just in case, these nightmare problems come up, so that you're not one of those people that's losing out on sales.
I love it. And we are going to have all the parts and pieces of that on your panel, so that we can really address not just, hey, running out of stock, which we got somebody for that, but how do I deal with logistics? How does my shipping provider deal with the 3PL, and how do those things work together? So I love all these panels and how everybody is going to be kind of playing off of each other and building out. I mean, this is going to be an epic event where we're all building and learning and growing for Q4 and beyond. Every time I go to one of these events, it doesn't matter if I'm speaking or not, like I just 10x my business, because it's like, oh my gosh, even one tip. Like I was just at ASGTG last month, and one tip that I got was incredible. That one tip. And it was like, man, that was worth the whole trip. So I can't imagine with all the networking that's going to happen here and with all of these different panels. And then also we're going to be doing a smart marketer competition. And that smart marketer competition is going to be hosted by a very special VIP that, you know, we can't tell you too much about this person, but you know who it is. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it's going to be a really awesome competition. So there's going to be a way for everyone to take part. I'm pretty sure some of our speakers are probably going to want to take part too. Like, I want to give my marketing hack and pitch it. But and then we're doing the VIP dinner and just hanging out all day. We have an amazing luncheon hosted by Michelle Clark on site that day. And it's designed for networking. It's designed to get you to connect with others that are going to matter to you. And those relationships, I know because I'm surrounded by them now, and they've made such a big difference to me in not only my business, but my life. Those relationships change things for you. And so I look forward to seeing you guys at Seller Meetup. We can't wait to connect with you there. This is going to be such a unique event. I'm going to give you guys a cool coupon code you can use, because if you're still watching, you should have one, right? So you can use coupon code SAVE10, the number 10, SAVE10 at sellermeetup.com to save 10. And tickets, the lowest level ticket is $99. So you really don't have an excuse, all this value. So anyway, we can't wait to see you guys there. And panelists, thank you so much for being here with us today. You guys gave so much value. I can't wait to learn more from you at this event. And all of you listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in and for asking your questions and for being here. And Andy, do we have anything? Do we have anything before we go here?
No, just thank you guys so much for joining us. And yeah, make sure that you don't wait till one of the biggest mistakes I see every year is people wait till like right about now or October before they start planning. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure you start this week, get on it, get planning, because by the time you look up, it's going to be Q4 and you're going to be scrambling and not knowing what to do. So get on that.
Yes, take the time. That's what this event is for you to sit there for a whole day and figure it out, right? So that you leave there with that strategy that's going to carry you through, not only through Q4, but beyond that. So awesome. Well, I can't wait, you guys. I'm so excited to see you guys at our first seller meetup. And thank you so much for being here on the Seller Roundtable today. You guys rate, review, subscribe. We love having you. And thanks so much for being here. And we'll see you next time on the Seller Roundtable.
Yeah, everyone. Thank you.
See you guys. See you soon.